He suddenly regretted buying premium health insurance, which had paid for a private room. If only someone were here to help him. Perhaps the ICU would have been the better choice. He tried to get up, but in vain. He was so damned weak. More lights began to flash, lighting up the room like a Christmas tree. He was losing control of the plane. To his left and right he could see British Spitfire fighters aiming their machine gun fire in his direction. Below him, London was burning. Where was his co-pilot? Was he asleep? He must have been hit. Wait, did he even have a co-pilot? Nonsense, he was a premium patient in a private room. Privileged or not, his plane started spinning uncontrollably, rapidly losing height. He could no longer control his hands on the stick. He had to get out. But the canopy was stuck, and he was too weak to pry it open. More English warplanes were joining the hunt. His Messerschmitt fighter was spiraling down toward London. In just a few seconds his body would be crushed, smashed to pieces, and burnt up by kerosene. Had he even released the bombs? And then, all of a sudden, the warning lights stopped. The plane stabilized. The Spitfires were gone, and the cockpit was calm. The sun was rising over the English Channel, and he could see the coast of Normandy on the horizon. Right behind it was the Rehwiese, the beautiful park right behind his winter garden. All would be well. At exactly 8 minutes past midnight, Herbert Winter's heart stopped beating. Cardiac arrest occurred 8 minutes after the defective infusion pump switched to reserve, just as the power went out. Chapter 1. I lit another cigarette, my third one this evening. My girlfriend Celine thought I was playing Russian roulette because I commemorated my victory over nicotine addiction with a few cigarettes each New Year's Eve. So far, though, my celebratory cigarettes haven't led to a smoking binge. Maybe I wasn't as weak-willed as Celine liked to believe. Would you like one? The nurse, a pretty, perpetually young-looking woman named Renata, shook her head and looked at her wristwatch in the glow of my lighter. It was almost 11:30. A cold droplet snuck out of her bright red nose and trickled down toward her cherry lips. No, thank you. I'm going to go down to the ward to help cater. Who knows what the patients are up to tonight? I don't want them dancing in a conga line across the hospital like they did at Christmas. My patients have an average age of 120, I replied. Plus, I spiked the punch with a nice bottle of cheap brandy just for the occasion. I can assure you they won't stir until tomorrow, not so much as a twitch. Renata did a little dance, hopping from one leg to the other. At the time, I figured she was cold. I don't know. I'm going to go take another look. Cater is too stubborn to ask for help. I should be back in time for the New Year's toast. If not, Happy New Year, Felix. Renata's willingness to help Cater was touching, especially since Renata was off duty. The two of them had been friends for years, and with Renata's help, Cater's shift was sure to go more smoothly. Nurse Renata gave me a less-than-innocent kiss and walked off, her hips swinging expressively, hands buried deep in the pockets of her black winter coat, leaving me standing in front of the former administrative offices. I was now alone, smoking my cigarette in the freezing cold. Most of my colleagues were militant non-smokers and were probably keeping their distance, afraid of being killed by that scourge of civilization, second-hand smoke. They clung fiercely to their uncompromising stance, despite my pointing out that without the early deaths of the considerate first-hand smokers among us, their social security taxes would skyrocket. Fewer people nibbling at the pension funds meant more money left in the pot for them, but they didn't seem to care. Our custom of spending New Year's Eve in the clinic had begun on Y2K. We were infected by the same general hysteria as everyone else. Not only was the world going to end, but the power was also supposed to go out, which meant no respirators, no infusion pumps, or any other life support equipment. It was believed that the Y2K bug could set off a major meltdown, potentially wreaking havoc on everyone and everything here. So someone suggested that we all celebrate New Year's Eve at the hospital and watch the world go down the drain at the stroke of midnight together. It hadn't quite turned out that way, but we'd had quite a celebration. Our administrative offices were largely empty, catering, laundry, and other patient services having long been